I've got the looks and the charm of an old movie star. Cary Grant, if you will, so I find it bizarre that this girl should refuse to step into my car. She must be shy, she'll come around, it's just a matter of time. Aurora.
Hey there, Screen Beans, and welcome to Screen Snark, the podcast that celebrates all of the shows that are in our eyes, on our minds, and in our hearts. I am Rachel Quirky Shank, alive.
I was waiting if there was going to be a postscript, not a postscript, and I am Matt A.K. Stormageddon, and I, too, am among the living at this very moment.
Look at us go.
Look at us.
They said it couldn't be done.
Who would have thought?
Here we are.
Not me.
Not me.
God, Paul Rudd, for all the things that he will live in our minds forever, that will probably be the
That
most
hot
one.
Ugh.
It was a good one.
You know, listen, I'm gonna just break format and go, can we just recognize how fun Hot Ones is?
It is. I love it. It's a favorite.
It's such a delight. The first Hot Ones I ever watched was with the celebrity chef Maddie Matheson.
Oh, good one.
Hilarious. And then I was just like, I guess I just watch all of these.
Yeah, same. Binged.
They're so immensely consumable. How dare?
Just like the wings.
How dare they?
Just like the wings.
Just like the wings.
That is the dulcet tones of the incredible Carli Velocci. Carli, welcome.
Hello. Unlike you two, I am dead.
Oh,
R.I.P. to me.
Shoot.
I'm so jealous.
Damn, bummer. From beyond the grave, maybe even from the dark place. Carli is joining us. Carli is an incredible writer, copy editor, and podcaster, and we're going to talk with Carli about all that fun stuff in a little bit. But, as always, we will start with the thing we always start with, the thing that I start. Yeah,
wow,
that was a sentence.
The thing we always start with, the thing that I start. Someone put that on a shirt.
Right, exactly.
The start you things.
We are going to talk about the most recent things we have watched, and I will, as always, continue to go first now that we are back in format.
You will start the starting of the start.
And this should be brief because the thing I am talking about today, the more I talk about, the less fun it'll be for other folks, and so I want to keep it as least spoiled as possible, and that is the new Scott Pilgrim animated series, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Anyone who knows me at all knows that I am obsessed with Scott Pilgrim. I saw the movie 4 times in theaters, bought the entire manga set and read it in an evening, and have been obsessed with it since. And then, of course, during the pandemic, the entire cast, for the most part, and Edgar Wright got together and did a Zoom, script read, essentially, of the film, which was incredible. And then they teased about, I think 4 or 5 months ago, maybe a little more, a animated series was coming to Netflix. Created by, of course, Brian Lee O'Malley, and the animation would be in the style of the graphic novel. And I've been very excited. I've been looking forward to it for a long time. There are 8 episodes, and while I don't want to talk about the plot too much because I think it's more fun to experience whether you're a new fan or an existing fan, I will say it's the best version, I think, of Scott Pilgrim for a lot of reasons. And also, I will say my favorite thing about it is that the cast could have easily rested on their laurels and just repeated their performances, but they absolutely do not. So many of them do something different. Some of them are completely different. Like Brie Larson's Envy Adams in this is unrecognizable from the movie version, and I love it.
I was very confused. I was like, wait a minute, is this Brie Larson? I know she's in the credits, so it has to be. Even
folks like Alison Pill and Aubrey Plaza, their characters got to do a lot more, like in the comics. It's funny, some of the roles were reduced a little in this version. Some of the roles were enhanced, but all of the actors really didn't repeat their performance. Even Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Michael Cera, who play the leads, their performances are similar to the movie version, but they're still, the way they emote, what they get to do, just all still feels so much more than what we saw from the film. I think that it's both approachable for new fans and for fans of the movie and the books. I think that you have to come to it with an open mind because it's an adaptation, and adaptations tend to be different from the source material, just like the movie was different from the source material. But I don't want to again spoil how this is different. I mean, it's been pretty clear online that this is a different thing. But I think it's one of the best interpretations of these characters. Also, Satya's version of Matthew Patel in this is just hands down, first of all, one of my favorite performances that Satya has had, but also specifically this version of this character gets to do so much that he didn't get to do in the movie. And
he steals the show
Absolutely.
and like all the scenes he's in. And I was so delighted.
Yeah. And like, I mean, again, I think what's really fun about this show is that the characters get to do so much more that they couldn't in the movie because they were pressed for time. The books weren't done. I mean, famously, for those who don't know, the reason the movie diverges from the comics so much is because I think the last 2 or 3 books weren't done when they started writing the script for the movie. And then as filming took so long that eventually Brian Lee O'Malley finished them before the movie came out, but like the story had the script had already, they started filming, like it was already in process, so he ended it the way he thought he'd want it to end for a film, but like it's very different. And I like that this version also, which is written and created with those in mind already existing completely, still does something different, because you could have easily just translated the comics word for word, and I'm glad they didn't, because I think that would have been a disservice.
I'm really glad they didn't too. It's a delight. I also love that Scott Pilgrim and Ramona Flowers have actual chemistry.
Yes.
On that date. Like, look, I love that they kind of don't have chemistry in the movie.
Right.
It really just fits with, like, what Edgar's going for. Like,
Yeah.
Absolutely, without question. Everyone's kind of weird and off kilter in that movie. It's one of the best things about it, for sure, for sure. But it's nice to be like, oh, I actually root for this couple.
Yeah.
Look at how nice they are to each other. I love when artists grow, and go, we're gonna change some things about this. A little warmer, a little snugglier. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I like about the fact that they waited to make this also, because I think we as a culture have gone through such a huge metamorphosis when it comes to how we see relationships, but also just like Brian Lee O'Malley is a different person than he was when he made the comic. So it's like, it's fun to watch the character grow and the story grow and adapt in a way that I think like, oh, this is what adaptations should do, is sort of like take the original story and think about it in a new context. So it's really interesting. Granted, I haven't seen the whole thing yet. But because I started watching it and then my fiance was like, no, I want to watch it. So I have to like stop. But one, I'm very glad that I'm in parts of the internet where nobody's really spoiled it. They just say like, oh, it's different, you got to watch it, which is, you can make your own guesses, but my guesses were all completely wrong. So I was just, it's just nice. It's just nice to watch, especially as like a person who's a fan of the comics and the original movie. It's just so nice to see it grow and change, and to see also everybody else coming back and having a great time. And it's just nice to see like a production that feels genuine.
Totally. And I like that the cameos that are in this too. Like, I'm not going to spoil all of them, but like, this is an Edgar Wright project. So obviously Nick Frost and Simon Pegg are in here somewhere, right? There's some Canadian folks who got to be in this, like Kevin McDonald, famously, of course, from Kids in the Hall, has a role in this, a small role in this. And like, I love that kind of attention to detail and nerdiness that's just different. And like, when Simon Pegg and Nick Frost do show up, I went, oh, of course. And and I love that it does that. And I don't want to even spoil that moment because it's fun, but like, there are some things that I wish were in this that weren't. Like, we still don't really see much of Joseph Stevens' boyfriend from Stephen Stills' boyfriend from the comics. He doesn't really get to do much in this. That said, this version is still way gayer than the movie, which I appreciate.
Oh boy.
It solidifies Wallace Wells as one of my favorite characters also, who I already loved in both other versions. But I think like, this is probably, again, one of my favorite Kieran Culkin roles, and he's done a lot of great roles. It's just, I'm just in love with it. I'm so glad that they did something cool with it. I'm glad that, the adaptations I've liked the most are the ones that do something different. I loved Arcane a lot because I didn't really understand the story of League of Legends, but it didn't matter. It made it something compelling on its own. I enjoyed we did a whole episode about the Last of Us TV show. It was very interesting. It was very entertaining, and it was fun to watch it with my spouse, the games were too scary for. But, it was more or less word for word a translation from the game, which is fine. they still made it look really cool. But like, this is my preferred way of adaptation. And what I like about this version also is there are moments from the video game in this as well. And Anamanaguchi did a ton of the soundtrack for this too. And so like, not only is it an adaptation that's working on a lot of levels, but it's integrating all of the source material, not just the movie or the comic or the video game. It's pulling them all into this version, which I think is really fun as well.
It feels like an adaptation that's like for the fans, but in a way that's not obnoxious. Yes. Like if you've like sort of dedicated yourself to Scott Pilgrim over the years in a way that's not, because like you can't really like be super fanatical about Scott Pilgrim in the way you can about other series, because there hasn't been as many like additions to the IP, so to speak, I guess. But it's like, oh, well, I recognize that from the games. I recognize that from the movie. I recognize that from the comic, but it's not like, that's not all it is. It's doing its own thing, so it's a very nice balance between just, I guess, all things Scott Pilgrim at this point.
I also appreciate that once again, it feels like everybody who worked on this project, like this cast returning, had a great time. One of my favorite things about watching the Scott Pilgrim movie is everybody is having so much fun. You can just feel it in their performances that they're just like having a vibe, just, doing a weird thing, having a fun time. You can just feel it. And that same energy is also here with like the voice acting. They're all like, they love these characters and they love being these characters. And that's great to see.
Yeah. I love that they all got to reprise their roles and like all got moments to do more with those characters. I mean, I think Lucas Lee might be an all-time favorite Chris Evans performance, and I love his Captain America and other things, but like that scene where he walks out of the trailer in the movie and cracks his neck to the Paramount sound or whatever, like it's just, and there's stuff like that in the animated series too. Like it's just, I really am glad. And I've seen so many of these actors and actresses in so many different other things that they've also excelled in, but for them to come back to this so many years later and still knock it out of the park is, I think, my favorite part. Because they could have absolutely phoned it in and did a translation of the comics word for word, but they didn't. And that's what makes it more interesting to me.
It's strange to see that the animated version of this humanizes these characters
I know, right?
more. You have a live action version where they're all cartoon characters, and you have a cartoon version where they're all real people with real problems, humanized.
Yeah.
Wild stuff.
That's a very good observation, because I remember when the movie came out, and like I like as a person who had read some of the comic at that point was like, wow, it looks like a cartoon. And at that point, like that wasn't like something I had seen much in movies. And of course, like this was sort of like at the beginning of sort of the superhero comics, whatever adaptation spree that we got. And now, like you said, we have a cartoon that's trying to ground itself in a way, because it knows you've seen all the cartoony stuff, the video games, the like, oh, everyone burst into coins kind of thing. Like that, but like there's so many scenes where it's just like people talking. And it's just like, but it works. It somehow works in this format where cartoons are supposed to be like super, I mean, for lack of a better term, animated and dynamic and constantly moving. And Scott Pilgrim doesn't mind just like sort of like chilling for a little while, which is really nice.
Yep. Yeah. And I think my favorite cameo of the whole series, which I won't spoil, is the last 2 episodes. Just because I clocked the actor's voice so easily in those last 2 episodes when the plot really comes to a head, and like I love that. And so
that was very I hopped on IMDb for that voice and I went, oh yeah,
I'm excited.
Good.
But yeah, it's great. I can't recommend it enough. If you've been waiting to watch Scott Pilgrim, this is, I think, a great first way to watch it, just to see something really cool without an expectation. If you are a long time Scott Pilgrim fan and still haven't seen it yet, please watch it. I think that even if you don't love it, I think you'll understand and probably respect the decisions they made. And it'll be an interesting experiment, even if you are not the hugest fan of it. Like, because I've seen people nitpick it, but I thankfully in the circles I run haven't seen anyone like just pooping all over it. Like, people have kind of also, I forgot to say this sooner, still banging soundtrack. Anamanaguchi does a bunch of stuff. There's some new Sex Bomb songs, and then it's just got an awesome soundtrack of needle drops also. So like the playlist is on Spotify. Go listen to it. It's great. Like that is my favorite thing about the movie is that it has one of the best needle drop-ish movie soundtracks ever, and this doesn't disappoint musically either.
It would be really disappointing if it was disappointing
Yeah.
because Edgar Wright is known for his needle drops and like how he incorporates soundtracks and audio design and all that.
Yeah.
Like he made a whole movie that was just audio design tricks essentially.
Yeah.
So it would have been very strange if he didn't, but it's still great, like regardless of if it's expected.
Well, Matt, if you're ready,
I am ready.
if you had to describe Scott Pilgrim Takes Off in just 3 words, and you cannot use Scott Pilgrim Takes nor Off, how would you accomplish this task?
The perfect version.
The perfect version.
Yep.
Love that.
Yep. It's definitely my favorite version, but I also think it is the perfect version of this franchise. But I'm open to debate if others disagree. I mean, I still love those other versions too. I watch the movie at least once a year, but
Yeah, no, I think the movie is a perfect little movie, but I think this is an elevated piece of art that is like deconstructing the ideas put forth in the comic and the movie. It's the best version because it's the one that like got all of the other versions and went, okay, yeah, let's work it. Let's play in the space.
yeah,
I love
yes,
that.
Yeah, and I mean, anybody who knows me knows I love things that play in the space and throw curveballs. I mean, my game of the year.
You know, I love when things get deconstructed.
My game of the year is a game that like absolutely threw me for a loop, and I still think about every day. It is, of course, Alan Wake 2, and so
Yes.
like any media that does that, like just lives with me. But anyway, this is not a podcast about Alan Wake 2.
Ooh.
We are going to talk about now. We are now going to talk about though what the most recent thing that Rachel has watched is.
Yes, not the most recent thing, but I would like to give a shout out to returning to my roots of watching some trash,
Nice.
costume drama bullshit.
Oh.
This time it was The Serpent Queen, which is all about Catherine de Medici. It's wild, y'all. It's weird. As per usual with my little costume dramas, I don't know if I can recommend it, but I had a great time just like going on a binge. Like I was like, I gotta watch one more episode. So they did it. Great job, y'all. You made me watch the whole thing. The Serpent Queen. Very fun. Or not. I don't know. But what I did most recently watch, which I am very excited to say, was the latest release from Studio Ghibli.
Oh.
The Boy
How
and the
dare you?
Heron.
That was going to be mine.
Nice.
Hayao Miyazaki. Yeah, it's okay. We can.
No,
we
it's fine. I can do
share.
something else.
I'm so glad though, because I was like, I know it's like, are people seeing it?
Yeah.
Is it
I haven't
happening?
seen it
haven't
yet,
looked
but
at,
I
its
want
box
to.
office
It's like-
returns.
It's
at the
doing
top of my list.
quite well at the
It's-
box office. I think it was the number one
yeah.
last
Yeah.
weekend.
Nice.
Granted, there's not much in
Ooh,
theaters
hell yeah.
besides like Renaissance, but
yeah,
still.
it's that time
Yeah.
of year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I adored it. As usual with Miyazaki, it is like, it may not make a ton of sense, but it's gonna be a vibe.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a vibe. But this one I thought was very like grounded in some like interesting realism that it's also, and not to say that like Miyazaki's stuff isn't grounded in realism, like this one's very much like, here's the thing you want to get, how do you get it, what do you do, how do you change on the way, like very much like standardy hero's journey, but in that very like Miyazaki twist where it's like it's kind of going not where you expect it to go, something generational trauma, something death and loss, something bird with teeth
And eyes.
and that beautifully grotesque world that Miyazaki builds time after time. It's aces. I loved it. I thought it ruled.
It does roll.
Yeah. I did watch it subtitled.
Okay.
So I'm very excited to go back and watch it dubbed.
Oh, the dub is
so, like,
good. I
again-
can't wait for you to watch it.
Miyazaki's
Oh,
dubs
yeah.
are always so good.
Always so great.
And so, like,
Yeah.
and when I saw Dave Bautista's in this one, I'm like, oh, I
He's
have to
great,
see
but
this,
like
'cause I love him.
Robert Pattinson, like the hype is real about Robert Pattinson in the as the Heron in this role. It's
Oh my
absurd.
God. I'm so
It's
excited.
absurd.
I have not
Yeah.
seen him in a bad film in years. Like, The Lighthouse was incredible. I love his version of Batman. Like, I think he is. I still haven't seen what was the Christopher Nolan film he was in recently. What was that?
Tenet?
Tenet. Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. But like everything else I've seen him in over the last like 3 or 4 years, he's been phenomenal. So I am unsurprised that he's good in this too.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped to go back. It was really nice to watch it in like the original language. You know, I think that's a really I mean, everybody who listens to this knows that I watch dubbed anime.
Yeah.
Can't watch subbed anime because I do this thing where I look away, like I'm so invested in like reading that I look away and I'm like, oh wait, I don't speak Japanese. What happened? This is hard. But it was really nice to like add that extra level of like connection and focus to the piece, you know, and like getting to hear the way the lines are delivered and then being able to like compare it to like the English version is I'm very stoked. You know, I love that I get to see a Miyazaki film in the cinema that isn't just like a Fathom event that's like $1 million. Like, it's great. I highly recommend it if you like Miyazaki films or you like beautiful animated movies or unpacking your childhood traumas in real time via a movie about a mythical heron.
Yeah, I just want to note because like I also saw it in the theater and like when the lights came down after the previews and like the Studio Ghibli production logo came up, a woman sort of like to my right just like said like really out loud for everyone to hear, "Oh my God, I'm so excited." And it was just like it was just very sweet and genuine, and everyone in the theater just like giggled because you don't go to see a Miyazaki movie in the theater unless you have seen a Miyazaki movie before, or you know, because like it's not a movie like people typically see. So, and it's not like it's a kids movie or a family movie, or like I wouldn't suggest this to children. So
No. Oh boy.
yeah,
No
so
way.
it's one of the like Miyazaki movies. When I say Miyazaki, what I mean Ghibli is like some of them are good family friendly fare, and then like every other one, it's like no, this one's really dark and probably has some war stuff in it, and you're gonna have a lot of feelings after it's done. But it was I don't. It's a great movie, like you said. It's
beautiful. Once again, beautiful bodily.
Oh my God,
fluid.
so much
blood.
bird poop.
That blood, gorgeous. Holy socks, just it's sumptuous.
Yeah,
I'm really excited for this because the last movie that Ghibli put out, which was admittedly not, you know, the Miyazaki the Elder, it was his son, but it was Earwig and the Witch, which was like this half-finished computer animated movie that was sort of okay but not great, and then ends without an ending, and it was only like an hour long. So I'm really kind of excited to come back to a proper Miyazaki film again. I mean, I feel like,
and also like a hand animated.
yes,
you
also,
know, like
I'm so glad they didn't stick with the computer animation. It looked cool, but like the hand drawn stuff is what I want. The animated, like the true animated stuff, not the computer animated.
Yeah, Ghibli is its animation style.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
and it's so nice to see a 2D animated movie in the theater. Like
Yes.
you're just sitting there and you're watching it, and you're just like, "Oh, this is a 2D animated movie," and you never see those anymore. And it just like took me out of the film for like a minute as I was watching the beginning because it's so beautiful to look at, especially that opening scene in Tokyo with the fire animation, which was just I was blown away by how
unbelievable.
like it's some of the best animation Ghibli has done in a long time.
Yeah, it's emotionality made animation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that fire's doing so much, girl. That fire is doing a lot of
Doing a lot of
subtext.
heavy lifting.
It is doing so, and it looks so beautiful doing it. Move out of the way, Renaissance. The new star is in town. It is the Ghibli fire from The Boy and the Heron.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I think the last Miyazaki film I saw in the Ghibli film I saw in theaters was Spirited Away when it came out, and
Wow.
so which is a while ago, and so like I'm really excited to see this one in theaters. There's something that makes it feel special, and as far as like seeing it in the original language, like I happen to really like the Ghibli dub, so I will probably see the Ghibli dub. But like you're talking to someone who played the entire Yakuza / Like a Dragon franchise in Japanese because it just feels right, and so like I totally understand that, especially for these movies specifically, because also the Japanese voice acting is so good. I remember watching Ponyo in Japanese and was like kind of blown away by how great it was, even though that English voice cast is also phenomenal. So yeah, I'm really excited to see this. This is it should still be in theaters by then. As a Jew, it is my duty to go to the movies on Christmas Day, and so it'll probably be me and Sarah's Christmas Day movie.
And you'll be the only ones in the theater
Amazing.
because Wonka is coming out on Christmas.
Oh yeah, everybody's gonna go see Wonka.
Like I like Timothée Chalamet well enough. I think he's a pretty good actor actually, but like I don't know. I just have no interest in a Wonka prequel. Look, I like Roald Dahl, barring all of the terrible things he did, we know. But
Yeah.
like I love
It's fine. He's dead.
He's dead.
He doesn't get anything for the art.
You can
he made.
say it, it's
Correct.
Go
fine.
nuts.
But
fine.
like I love that book. I've read it so many times growing up, and like I of course love the Gene Wilder version. The Johnny Depp one was not great, and so like this version, like seeing the trailers for it, like I want to be optimistic, but also I don't know. I just don't want really a prequel. Like I love Wonka, but I also don't think anything's ever going to be better than the book, even though the Gene Wilder movie is really good. So I don't know. I'm just not stoked for it.
There's something about removing the enigmatic qualities of characters by giving them prequels that really I find personally jarring. Where it's just like, I didn't need to know where the Joker comes from. He's just this force of nature that kind of just exists. I don't need to know Wonka's backstory. He's just kind of a weird fucking candy
Like,
man.
let him be a weird little guy.
Yes.
Like, just let him be a weird guy. And it's just like, he's just a weird guy. We don't know. That's just him. We can't explain it. Why should we? You know, it's again, just like a symptom of this sort of like, everybody's got to have an IP that people know, or it won't get butts in seats. And like, this has been exhausting to go through. Sorry. I'm really glad that I got a gift at the cinema with this Miyazaki film.
I mean, also, I've already seen the best
movie. It's nice to watch good movies.
I've already seen the best movie this year, and it was Barbie. So, you know, I mean, there's that.
Yeah.
Too.
Ugh.
Which I wasn't expecting, like, you know, a couple years ago or whatever. But I was just like, this is the best movie I've ever seen. Like,
it was great.
I'm excited for Hollywood to learn all the wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, totally. Oh, yeah, well, they're already working on a Polly Pocket movie. So, you know. Yay. Look, if we get a Mighty Max movie out of it and Rob Paulson comes back to play the voice of Mighty Max, like, I'm in. Let's do it. Anyway, enough deep cuts. Rachel, if you had to sum up The Boy and the Heron in just 3 words without any of those words, what 3 words would you choose?
Birds got teeth.
Yep, that sums it up.
Great. Love it. Perfect. Print it. Great.
I said it early on, and I went, oh, there it is. There's my 3-word review.
Sometimes you just come across those 3-word reviews.
Sometimes you say 3 dumb things in a row and go, perfect, nailed it.
Well, Carly, while this would perfectly be fine for the both of you to have covered this movie, you said you do have another that you would love to talk about, another media product. I don't know where I'm going with this sentence. It's been one of those weeks. Carly, why don't you share with us the most recent thing you have watched that isn't The Boy and the Heron?
Yeah, so the last movie I saw in the theater before The Boy and the Heron was Godzilla -1.
Ooh, another one I haven't seen yet that I really want to see.
Okay.
It looks so good.
Yeah, so like I saw the trailers and everything, and I was just like, oh, I'm so excited for this movie. I've gotten really into sort of like Godzilla kaiju stuff sort of over the past like few years. I like the sort of extremely dumb Warner Brothers movies that they've come out with.
Yeah, they're so good.
They're so stupid.
Just monsters punching monsters.
Like
Robo-Godzilla. No.
Mechagodzilla. No, let them fight.
How dare you?
Like,
let them fight is the best line ever.
yeah, like they're so stupid, but like I watch them at home and I have the best time. So I can't say I regret it, but I really enjoyed Shin Godzilla. definitely one of the best movies I've ever seen. Top 20 of all time. And so I was really excited for this one. And I love the conceit, like sort of going back to the origins of Godzilla back in like post World War II, and using him as an allegory for the war. But I wasn't sure how they were going to go about doing it. But the concept of like -1 was like, well, Japan got completely flattened by the war, so it was already at 0, and then Godzilla comes along, so then it's at -1. And I was like, oh, that's so good. And I loved like the design of him, so I was like so excited. We went Thursday night. We went to get concessions. It was the night apparently Renaissance also came out, and the guy behind the counter was like, "Do you want Beyonce popcorn?" And we were just like, "No." And he's like, "Why? You don't like Beyonce?" And it's like, "No, we're gonna go see Godzilla." And he thought that was the funniest thing he had ever heard in his entire life. So already a great experience. Surprisingly packed theater, which was also really nice to see. But yeah, I wasn't expecting this movie to be like sort of a very serious post-war melodrama about PTSD and trauma. And of course, like everything's about trauma these days, but
Sure.
We all
got it, you know, we can all relate. But they do a really good job here with like sort of the main characters, like building his baggage, which involves Godzilla, but also involves his actions during the war and how that affected him. And it's a Godzilla story I feel like I haven't seen before, even though it is similar to a lot of things, because Godzilla is a passive force in this movie in a way that's kind of interesting. He's like a shadow. He's sort of like, he really is a monster. He's terrifying in this movie. And he starts off like kind of small but also still very violent. And then it becomes way worse later in the movie. And you're watching this, you're like, wow, like this is actually some good human stuff. Like anyone who's seen a Godzilla movie knows that it's really easy to mess up the human story in a Godzilla movie. And it works really well here. Like there's a lot of characters that you really grow to like care about. And you're like, oh, these like dynamics are interesting. And then Godzilla shows up and you're just like, oh my God, right. This is a Godzilla movie and not a post-war drama about a guy overcoming his PTSD and learning to love and make connections again. I will say, like, it's not my favorite Godzilla movie. There's some pacing issues I had with it, but I really liked the conceit of the movie and the politics of it. Like half the movie, I was like, what are these movies' politics? I wasn't totally sure. And then halfway through, I was like, oh, okay, I see where you're going with this. And it's really nice. I'm a sucker for a show or a movie or a story where people come together and like the Spider-Man, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us kind of thing.
Yeah, of course. Oh my God, every time.
It gets me every time.
Every time.
And this is like such a good version of that. So it's great. Godzilla's actually scary. You give a shit about the characters. And I had a great time. What a good Godzilla movie. Good year for Godzilla.
I'm so excited. Like I'm a longtime Godzilla fan. I've guessed friends of the show, Derek and Charlotte, who host Castle Bravo, which is a Godzillaverse retrospective. Like I've appeared a bunch of times recently and in the past, and like I love these movies. A lot of them just very dumb fun, but like the ones that have the best human stories, or like of course all of the ones in the early days that had like they were all about something, right? Like they're about Japan or about the war or about, you know, the harm of the nuclear bomb and all of that stuff. Like that makes these, like anyone who says Godzilla movies with human stories are dumb are idiots, because then you don't like Godzilla. Godzilla is the human stories. Like you need that perspective for this monster to be a monster.
Exactly.
And I think that's what the newer movies did well in the beginning, but then when it became just monsters fighting, like I could acquiesce to it, because the first couple of movies were the terror from the human perspective, especially Godzilla and then Kong Skull Island. Both of them did that really well. So then by Kong versus Godzilla, when they're just punching each other, you're like, yeah, go, get him.
Yeah, suplex each other on a helipad in the ocean.
Yeah, like go to Hollow Earth. Do it. I dare you.
Oh my God.
Do it. I dare you. Let's go.
Ken
Amazing.
Watanabe, rest in peace. I mean, he's fine. The actor's fine.
The character.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The character.
Yeah, the character.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love Ken Watanabe.
Who's also named Ken Watanabe. Don't tell me otherwise.
Yeah.
I will be like, you were
And
absolutely
it's
wrong.
and it's weird
No.
because they wrote that before they cast Ken Watanabe. So
Yeah.
Yeah, just like there we are. That's called making your dreams come true, babies.
exactly.
But I'm glad to hear that it was good. I've heard from quite a few people. I'm bummed that I think it's out of theaters here in New York now, but I plan to watch it as soon as I can get my hands on it because, like, I'm a diehard Godzilla fan, and I think the last Godzilla movie I saw in theaters, because I didn't see, so famously on this show, I chronicled my rise to power watching all of the new movies, like during the pandemic, but I never saw any of them in the theaters. I will be seeing Godzilla X Kong or whatever it's called in theaters because now I'm caught up.
I'm so excited for that.
Oh,
I was going to say
can't
Godzilla X
wait.
Kong. Are they gonna kiss?
Yeah, right.
gonna
Exactly.
kiss.
They're gonna kiss.
Make kiss, baby.
But like the last Godzilla film I think was Godzilla 2000 I saw in theaters, which was
Wow.
great also. But that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's 23 years ago. God damn it.
I like how you're.
Sorry, I got the visual of Godzilla trying to kiss you.
Me?
It's a lot.
Okay.
No, just like trying to make a kiss face
at someone. Oh, I see.
He takes his tiny little
Yeah.
arms and tries to raise it to his lips,
It's
but his arms are too tiny.
Very funny. Yeah, I'm trying to. Sorry that
You're
my
welcome.
I just gave I delivered to myself some psychic damage.
It's fine.
I don't know what you're talking
here
about.
for.
That is
My-
psychic healing right there.
Yeah, exactly.
That is
It's
true. That is true. Make kiss, Godzilla.
Make kiss. Well, Carly, if you had to sum up Godzilla -1 in 3 words, and it can't involve the words Godzilla minus or one, what words would you choose?
It's funny because I was like, crap, I built one that had the word Godzilla in it, forgetting the rules.
Darn.
I'm going to say, let's band together.
Ooh, like that.
Aw.
Let's band together. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, now, Carly, we can get to the even more fun part where we talk about all the cool stuff you do.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you've been a journalist, a copy editor, and a podcaster for quite some time. I've read a ton of your articles. I love your work.
Thank you.
Often, if not always, in the video game space mostly, though you've done other stuff as well. I'm just curious, like, to start, like, I don't know, when I was younger, I didn't think you could get paid to write things, which is a thing that is obvious now. But did you always want to, like, pursue journalism? Was that a thing you were always interested in?
Yeah, so I figured out early on that writing was something I was good at. And like picture 9-year-old Carly getting a small prize in a national writing contest kind of deal, and it being like,
Nice.
oh, this is something that I can get validation for, so I will keep doing it, kind of thing. And
Right.
over time, I realized, oh, how do I get paid writing? Journalism, of course, the most lucrative of careers.
Of course. Totally stable also.
Yeah. And I went to college in 2008, so right around the time when things started to get very dire. So I majored in English instead of journalism, and my plan was to sort of do digital, social media kinds of stuff, new media journalism kinds of things, because I was like,
Right.
oh, Prince dying, I got to go figure out how to
Right.
do the other
Absolutely.
things. And of course now that's dying, so good investment on my part. But
Yeah, totally.
But that's essentially what happened, is that I went to a college that had a co-op program specifically so I could have a resume when I got out of college. So I had that and was able to just start working basically immediately, freelancing, and then getting hired for places and quitting and hired more places, popping around from different journalism outlets to different journalism outlets. I've done local news, newspapers, entertainment, technology, just a ton of different things. So I'm just I like to say I'm just around.
I mean, that's true. I mean, so I think we encountered each other when you were still doing Jiggle Physics. R.I.P. I love that show.
Me too.
Also had the best logo.
I
of,
know.
Jiggle. It's just the
Jiggly.
best logo. Jiggly the corgi with his butt in your face.
Exactly.
But, and then, of course, I got to know you through a lot of mutuals and read your writing and stuff. And you do a ton of stuff now. I think it's really cool that most recently you'd gotten to guest on Remap Radio, of course, the recreation of the Waypoint folks who I've been following for a long time. And you're helping them with copy edit for their website and some other stuff. And so, like, how did that connection happen? Had you known those folks for a while? Or?
Yeah. So, interestingly, like, back in, 2018, I want to say 2017, 2018, I did weekend editing for them for like 3 weeks. And because like Austin Walker, who was there still at the time, so I'm trying to figure out like when the year was, but like basically it's like, oh, we want to publish stuff on the weekends, can you help out with that, write stuff? I was like, yeah, sure. And this lasted like no time at all because Vice just slashed that budget. So
of course, yeah.
But I still like sort of kept in touch with them, just like around the internet and things like that. So I think that's sort of how that happened. And, I applied for the job they had. And so I talked to them then. So I think I was just sort of like in the brain a little bit. And I've been pretty open about the fact that I do a lot of copy editing. So I think that's just sort of how it happened.
That's awesome. I give you a lot of credit for copy editing. As someone who's only come back to writing recently and have written a few articles for the Patreon of my video game podcast, like I look at my work and I write it and like people tell me it's good and I believe them. But like I look at it when it's done and I go, I can't read this anymore. Someone else help. Like I cannot see grammatical errors for the life of me. I've gotten better at them. The person who edits my stuff right now, friend of the show, Brett Eagleston, who is also a podcaster on the network, like the most recent edit he gave me was just some commas and stuff. And I was like, oh, no spelling errors.
You're like, yes, I did
There's
it.
enough spaces, right? Like it just was such an accomplishment to me because I don't know. I don't have that training. So I am very envious and impressed by it.
I will say though that like editing your own stuff is always so much harder than editing somebody else's. So
yeah.
You're like, I can't edit my own stuff. I'm too, I always say that people are too precious of their own work. Even if you don't think so, you are always at least a little bit. So I always say, like, even if you think that you can edit stuff on your own, like you can. You should always, if you have the opportunity, you should let someone else look at it because like nobody is safe. Like this applies to every person who's ever written a thing, but obviously it's a little difficult when you're just like doing stuff on your own or.
I don't feel that way. I sort of feel that way about editing my own podcast, but also it's gotten to the point where like. I used to edit out every and from every show I edited, and then
never did that once. Y'all.
I know. I'm so proud of you.
Show, all the all the everything. Pretty sure there's gonna be a bump that happened earlier when I knocked the desk that I'm gonna forget about.
But it's
just gonna be there. Congratulations. Listen to us live.
It was one of those things where I was like such a perfectionist in the early days, and then I realized. Like Remap is a good example. Like listening to those folks and I'm in all the time. Like it's conversational, right? Unless it's really like a long stop or a pause, like those things you remove. But like conversational pauses, like we just as humans kind of are raised to fill the space, and so like it's not. But like I used to be obnoxious about it, and now it's just like nope, nobody's got time for that. I've got other things to do.
Yeah,
can't remove all those.
Yeah, I read somewhere that people are more forgiving of mistakes in podcasts than they are in other mediums because I guess the understanding is that like a lot of people are just doing it in their homes, like not really professionally. I mean, most of the podcasts I listen to are, I say semi-professional in the sense that like, people do it professionally, but it's not like NPR or it's not like This American Life levels of professional where everything's like got background music and it's so clean and, they play with levels and all this stuff. It's just like, as long as you aren't keeping 1 minute long moments of dead silence in there, I'm usually fine with it. As long as I can hear it, it's usually pretty okay.
Yeah. As long as the audio is mostly clear, it can be echoey, but if it's like crunchy, like I can't. Like I just, and like there are shows that I love that sometimes have guests, and like with guests, you can't always control it, right? Like not every guest we have is, although lately a lot of folks we've had are also podcasters, but like not everyone is. And so like I can forgive it. But like it's just my own preference. It's not anything to do with the quality of an interview or a podcast. It's more to do with my own preference. Like
exactly.
I'm just that kind of obsessive nerd.
Oh, I can't remember if it was like the Community podcast or the Scrubs podcast that was done by actors on the show.
It was the Scrubs podcast. Well, they both did actually.
And just like they just plugged in their headphones to their cellular devices and went nuts on it. And I went, as much as I want to hear every thought you have about this, because I love this show, I cannot. This has barred my entry. God, has anyone got a transcript?
I think about, you know how in TV shows, like at least recent TV shows, they'll show someone recording a podcast, but it's like they have like a recorder you use for the field or something.
Yeah.
And they'll just put it down and plug it in and be like, yep, it's done. And it's like, no, you got to edit that.
Yeah, that's not how it goes. Yeah, I love Only Murders in the
Yes,
Building.
that's
It's a
what I'm
great
thinking
show.
of, exactly.
But every time they do that, I'm like, that's not how podcasts work.
Or like,
But that's kind of the bit in that show too.
Yeah.
Is like they clearly don't know what they're doing, which is part of it.
or like, I don't know if you played till the end of Spider-Man 2.
I have, yes.
When Mary Jane is recording the podcast and she's just talking into the computer with no headphones or microphones or
Nothing.
anything.
And then stops and publishes it. I was like, no, it doesn't work that way.
No, I was just
MJ, what are you doing?
like, this was a 10 out of 10 game and now it's a 7 out of 10 game.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You've ruined the whole experience.
Exactly.
It was one of my favorites of the year, but perfectly unrealistic. That's something that like I've learned more and more as I get older and more experienced with stuff. Like and we've asked this kind of question before, but like seeing your own profession in movies or video games, you're like, nope, that's not how it works. And it rarely does work the way it should. And it's like, I feel like every movie I've seen about journalists, it's like, it's just not like that.
Don't even get me started on journalism. Like, I've been meaning to write like a column that's just like depict like all of the journalism in movies and TV shows and what they get right and what they get wrong. I've been wanting to do this for literally like half a decade and I just never had the time. But I always watch things and I'm just like, how long are you dedicating to reporting the story? You got you got one source and you publish it and it's the cover story of this weekly newspaper what is happening? Like, and it's supposed to be 2020. It's so funny though. I'm always screaming at the TV.
I mean, I guess that's just how it goes. It's like I can't imagine how. I mean, from what I've heard, actually, The Bear is pretty realistic to a lot of it. But like, also they have a professional chef on the cast, and they've brought other chefs on. But like, a lot of the TV I watch, I go, oh yeah, this must be what it's like, and it's nothing like what it is.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Everything that happened in The Serpent Queen is exactly how it happened historically.
Of course, 100%.
We're not taking an artistic liberty or two around these to like get to the point.
Just like your
Definitely
favorite
not.
show, Outlander, also totally historically accurate.
Totally historically accurate.
Yeah, I remember the time travel. We learned about that in history class.
Time traveling happens.
Yeah, exactly.
You go to Craig Nadoon on Halloween night. Go nuts. Time travel. Or the random stones in America. I don't know.
I have not watched Outlander, so I'm just like, what is happening right now?
Oh my gosh. I had like a whole report going on. Yes, I know there's a new season
Yes,
of
you gotta get on
Outlander.
that.
I'm getting around
Listeners
to
are
it.
getting antsy.
I might actually be rewatching the whole series
Ooh.
first.
Of course.
Do not judge me. It's my trash,
That's fine.
and I
Everyone's
love
got
it.
their trash. I watch every
Claire
Drag
and
Race.
Jamie
It
are
happens.
everything to me.
There you go. Hell yeah.
Um,
Don't even.
The Frasers and their
exactly.
drama.
I was gonna say that
Oh.
the media that I've seen recently that I think depicts journalism the most accurately is Succession.
Interesting. Okay.
Because it doesn't
Cool.
really show journalism. It shows sort of like what the execs are sort of doing to it. And they're just like, they don't give a shit. They're just like popping stuff around. Like, yeah, we'll just shut this down. It's not who cares?
Wait, what are you saying? That executives don't care about the brands and businesses they're running?
I
They
know.
don't care about the little people?
Controversial.
Controversial. Hot take here.
Hot take Carli. That's what they
that-
call me.
Exactly. I hear it all the time.
Yeah, it's on Twitter and
All the
everything.
time.
Before we wrap up, I would love for you to tell folks a little bit about Total Massacre, which is an awesome podcast that you're on.
Yes.
It's been around for a little while, and like what it is and where folks can find it.
Yeah, so Total Massacre was an action movie podcast hosted by Rowan Kaiser, who has also been in the video game journalism world for a billion years. And she recently rebranded into a sci-fi movie podcast, and I'm one of the now more regular co-hosts of it. We just sort of like get a guest on. We talk about a sci-fi movie. We go sort of like deep into like sort of like the context around when the movie was made, the stuff it might be adapted from. Like it's more of like a critical take on it. It's not really so much like a plot recap movie podcast. like right now we're doing December, which is all Philip K. Dick adaptations.
Nice.
Cool.
Which are very different in terms of quality, I must say.
Yes.
But, we've done like Minority Report, Blade Runner. We did a Steven Spielberg month. Yeah. So there's just like, it's a lot of fun. We get a bunch of cool guests to talk about their favorite things, their favorite movies. We talk about our histories with them. So it's just like, if you want to hear like sort of a more in-depth discussion about sci-fi and movies and sometimes dumb stuff happens, then check out Total Massacre. It's on basically everywhere you can get podcasts. It's also on Patreon. Patreon.com/Total Massacre, I believe, is the URL. But we're also on Blue Sky and Instagram and Twitter. So you can always go there and find links and everything. So yeah, that's what's going on.
I love that. If you guys ever want to cover a movie that I'm obsessed with that is not a good movie, Johnny Mnemonic, I will happily come on and talk about it because...
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh, I love Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
we
we're
talked
always
about it
looking
on
for
the
new
show.
guests, so I'll keep you in mind if
Happily.
you ever do that.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah.
It has to
It's
come up
such
at
a
some
stupid
point.
movie. Yeah, I'm sure it will. It's kind of like in the veins of science fiction with its cheesiness. Well, I'm so glad that you got to join us. This was wonderful.
Yeah,
thanks for
you.
having me.
I really love all your work. I'm so glad that you're still doing some cool stuff, and it's been great to stay in touch over the internet all these years. And I'm so glad that you came on. And I guess before we wrap up, if there are certain things you've done recently that you want to direct people towards, social media that you would prefer to be found on, like the hellscape that is Twitter. I will never call it X because I don't believe in dead naming except for that platform. But yeah, tell folks where they can find you and some of the cool stuff you're working on.
Yeah, so I am on Twitter, but don't find me there. I never post there anymore. But you can find me on Blue Sky at carlivelocci.com, which is also my portfolio website. I'm also on Instagram at velociraptor64, and I think those are the two main ones that I'm sort of in right now. In terms of like things I'm doing, I've been doing a lot of like copy editing lately, so not a lot of stuff to post, but I've been getting into like keyboard reviews and stuff lately. So that's like the weird thing I've been doing, and just playing video games and trying to survive in this wonderful world of 2023. Almost 2024 now.
Almost. The best and worst year ever for everything.
What a weird year.
What a weird year. You can also, early plug, you can find Carli in our Discord server.
Yes.
There'll be a link in the show notes. Carli, my bestest friend when it comes to talking all things Alan Wake, a game I've been obsessed with and will continue to be obsessed with probably
till the end of time.
For many years to come. Pretty much, or until Control 2 comes out, because Control is my favorite Remedy game. But, still, we've got time for that, I think. So.
Remedy makes games just for me, so anything they make is my favorite game of all time. So.
Right. Pretty much, yeah. So, all right, awesome. Well, we are going to start to wrap up the show before we ask you our final question, Carli. So, Rachel, we should probably thank some folks.
Yes, I would very much like to thank John Presnell for the use of the song Aurora off the album Fair Game, featuring Stefan Remble. It's a smash, it's a bop. What a great way to enter and exit this delightful little podcast we do.
Correct. I would also really love to thank the one and only Katie Delaney, a.k.a. Katie Beast, who redesigned our incredible logo and made us look even hotter. Not thought possible, and yet she did.
Royalty.
Brilliant.
Nailed it.
Love
it.
And then I guess we should thank our podcast network.
Yes, thank you so much to the Certain Point of View Podcast Network. We love being a part of this whole little cavalcade of cuties.
It's true.
You can check out the cavalcade of cuties and all their cute little shows by going to certainpov.com.
Yeah.
See all the shows we got going. You can see a permanent invite to our Discord server.
Hell yeah.
Where you can talk about the latest thing you watched and sum it up in 3 words.
True.
If you want. It's a fun challenge. It's a great way to sum up your art.
Yes. Also, I forgot, we should also thank the person who designs our individual episode art, the one and only Case Ankin.
Wrong. Wrong.com.
I'm sorry.
No.
My mistake.
Case. Never. No thanks to Case.
He did recently admit on an episode of Man of Steel that he did curse your cat. Like, he owned up to it, so.
I see. I told you.
You were
curse
right.
my cat.
It's rude.
Stole my Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah. But thank you for designing our show hard anyway.
No.
If you would be so kind as to rate and review us on your podcast platform of choice, it helps us get featured so other folks can find this awesome show. Also, as Rachel mentioned, there's a permanent invite link to the Discord server, not only on our website, but in the show notes below, as well as links to those places to rate and review us. So please do that. I think that's everything. So, Rachel, now it is time for you to ask our guest the final question.
Yes, I do want to say I do feel vindicated now that everyone knows that Case did Curse My Cat.
Okay, good. I'm glad to help.
I'm glad. It feels good. Feels
you were
good.
right all along.
Don't ever doubt me, y'all. Everything I say is the absolute truth.
Correct.
Nothing I say is a
Never.
lie. I will never be allowed to wrestle in a professional wrestling ring.
Oh, wait,
ever.
we did talk wrestling most of this episode. I'm actually surprised.
We did it.
That's
No,
weird.
we skipped
It's very
it.
weird.
Yeah, it's okay. It's very cold. And mostly when I go train, I just hurt because it's
Aw.
cold.
Fair enough.
That's where it is. That's where it is right now. Yeah, what we do for fun, hobby things. It doesn't matter. Carli.
Yes.
I didn't know how to dismount. I'm sorry, everyone.
You got it.
I would love to know, as would all of our listeners, the answer to this question. If you could choose one trope that is featured in movies and television to instantly and magically become true in your life, which trope would you choose?
Ooh, that's a good question. But I feel like the sort of trope of like, I don't know how to describe this without, I'm trying to figure out a way to describe this without like using weird, outdated terms. But like, like just like the idea that like, you meet somebody and they're like, your life is going to get better. And then your life just like gets better and it comes at like, it sort of like appears, like you don't have to like work too hard for it. It just sort of appears overnight. Like it doesn't happen over months or years. It happens by the end of the movie.
The like instant
like that.
success.
Yeah.
The easy success.
Also the ability to wear shoes on the bed.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Should never do that unless they're always magically clean. But you never know.
It's very upsetting.
Yeah.
It is very upsetting.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Carli.
Take them shoes off, babies.
Too dirty. No dirty shoes on the bed.
Do you know where those walk?
Everywhere.
You know what
everywhere.
they've seen?
Everything. Carli, thank you for joining us. This was so much fun.
Thank you so much, Carli.
Yes, thanks for having me. I had a great time.
And of course, I must thank my brilliant, bold, and beautiful co-host, the one and only Rachel Quirky Shank.
Yes, and I must thank my Birds Got Teeth co-host, Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
Yeah, did I just chomp into the microphone? I sure did. Can't get rid of that
it's
now.
horrifying. Put it away. Put it away.
Yeah, listen, that bird will yell back at you.
Fair enough.
With those teeth.
Teefs. All right. Well, I'm going to get us out of here. Of course, also, thank you to our incredible listeners. We could not do the show without you. We will see you at the movies or on a couch somewhere. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Aurora, 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 Aurora. Metal to magnet, she will be mine. Aurora.
Video games are a unique medium.
They can tell stories,
Immerse us in strange, fantastic worlds.
blur the very boundaries of our reality.
But at the end of the day, video games are fun. Whatever fun is to you.
I'm Jeff Moonen,
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
and on Fun and Games, we talk about the history, trends, and community of video games.
It's a celebration of all the games we play and all the fun we find within them.
And there's so many more games out there, so we hope you'll share in that conversation with us.
Fun and Games podcast with Matt and Jeff. Find us on certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
And happy gaming.
CertainPOV.com.